Hello everybody, welcome in. My name is Skeleton. It's 2025 and I finally watched The Grudge for the first time. It only took, 21 years? In my horror DVD collection video, I mentioned that I thrifted it and had always wanted to watch it since it's considered to be one of the scariest horror movies. People to this day will not rewatch this movie in fear of The Grudge herself. Without giving too much away, right off the start, I absolutely loved this movie. After finishing the movie, I just wanted more. So I decided to check out its original inspiration, Ju-on, The Grudge. Today, I'll be diving into both films, breaking down their differences, their similarities, their production, and their atmosphere. I'll also talk about the audience's opinions and talk about which I enjoyed more. Before we dive in though, I do want to clarify that I'll be focusing solely on Ju-on, The Grudge, the direct inspiration for the American adaptation, and the American adaptation itself, The Grudge. I won't be covering the rest of the Ju-on franchise in this video, but if you'd like a deep dive into the entire series, let me know down below. Starting with the original film from 2002, Ju-on, The Grudge. This movie follows multiple characters as they encounter a deadly curse. No matter how they come into contact with the house, each person meets the spirits of the family who once lived there. The child, the mother, or the father. As they experience eerie and conflicting events, they fail to realize that any interaction with the house or its former inhabitants dooms them to the curse. Then, it's death or disappearance. However, no two victims meet the same end. Each character's demise is unique, slowly unraveling more details about the family's tragic past and deepening the mystery surrounding the curse. Ju-on, The Grudge was directed and written by Takashi Shimizu, who also brought 4 other films in the Ju-on franchise to life. Beyond the series, he has directed other notable horror films including Maribito, Flight 7500, and Tomi Rebirth. Then in 2004, the American adaptation The Grudge was released. Rather than completely rewriting the entire story, the remake kept the core premise intact while incorporating American elements and making some key narrative changes. After watching Ju-on, The Grudge, Sam Raimi, who is best known for directing The Evil Dead, was deeply inspired. He felt the film was so powerful that he wanted to bring it to American audiences, even though it was already kind of gaining a worldwide popularity and probably would have blown up regardless. Thankfully, when adapting the film for Western viewers, the team made the decision to keep the story set in Japan. Takashi Shimizu, the original director, stayed on as the primary director, which I think was a really important decision to keep it authentic. Takashi Shimizu felt this was essential as the concept of the curse is rooted in Japanese culture. While Americans do have ghost stories, the idea of a grudge has much deeper roots in Japanese folklore. This isn't just a haunting for the sake of scares, it's a manifestation of pain and tragedy that refuses to fade. As previously mentioned, the basic premise of both films is nearly identical. Each begins with a young woman visiting a home to care for an elderly woman after the previous caretaker mysteriously stops showing up. As viewers, we already suspect that the missing caretaker has fallen victim to the curse. While tidying up the eerily disheveled house, the new caretaker hears strange noises, often coming from upstairs. There's a chilling encounter with the old woman, and eventually with the manifestation of the curse itself, the iconic ghostly figure of Kayako, otherwise known as The Grudge. This setup is one of the most faithful story elements carried from Ju-on, The Grudge to The Grudge in 2004. Even specific scenes like the caretaker discovering Toshio, the eerie cat sounds, and the attic reveal are directly mirrored. Both films also explore how the curse spreads like a virus, pulling in anyone who enters the house or interacts with cursed individuals. Additionally, the stories of the old woman's family members unfold in similar ways. Her daughter, in The Grudge, it's the son and his wife, visits the house out of concern and soon finds herself entangled in the supernatural events. Scenes like the ghost dragging itself down the stairs, the terrifying bed scene, and the infamous shower hair moment are all preserved with slight variations, maintaining the same structure while adjusting tone and pacing for the different audiences. Outside of the story itself, Both films use a non-linear structure, presenting events out of order in a way that keeps viewers engaged, constantly trying to piece everything together. This fragmented storytelling mirrors the confusion and disorientation felt by the characters, enhancing the eerie atmosphere. Both versions also feature side characters like detectives and family members who serve as narrative guides, slowly uncovering the truth alongside the audience. These parallel investigations bring a slight more grounded, investigative angle to the story, which helps balance out the supernatural elements. Though they also highlight that no matter how much is uncovered, the curse cannot be stopped. One of the biggest differences between the two films is the cultural lens. Ju-on is deeply tied to Japanese beliefs, especially when it comes to how it handles spirits and curses. The curse is based on the idea of onryo, vengeful spirits born from powerful unresolved emotions like rage, sorrow, or despair. While The Grudge is still set in Japan, it's clearly adjusted to be more accessible to an American audience. Most of the main characters are American and don't have a cultural understanding of these kinds of curses. This outsider perspective adds to the sense of confusion and surprise, which works for the horror, but it also means the film loses some of its deeper emotional and cultural weight that Ju-on carries. Both films do an excellent job of creating an eerie atmosphere around the haunted house with its dark past. Personally, I found Ju-on to be a little bit more atmospheric, possibly because of its slower shots and the use of silent and subtle sounds, which build a very unsettling vibe. Ju-on truly feels like you're trapped inside of a nightmare, whereas The Grudge is more about external scares. It focuses on what you see or hear instead of what you feel. Regarding ghost appearances, Kayako and Toshio in Ju-on often show up suddenly without warning or sound cues. This adds to the sense that the curse is always lingering, no matter where you are. In contrast, The Grudge tends to use sound cues or other dramatic effects when the ghosts appear, creating a more conventional horror scene. I also feel that Ju-on offers much more story and character development than The Grudge. The characters are given more depth and backstory, making them feel like they have a purpose beyond just being victims of the curse. Ju-on takes its time to weave in the family's tragic history and the emotional weight of the curse, while The Grudge leans more into the horror aspects, focusing on the scares. Although it touches on the curse's origin, it doesn't delve as deeply into the emotional depth behind it. The production values of both films differ significantly due to their varying budgets. Ju-on had a budget of around $3.5 million US, which was used to focus on practical effects, lighting, and decorations. This gave the film a raw, eerie, and indie feel that worked perfectly for the haunting atmosphere. On the other hand, The Grudge had a larger budget of around $10 million US, allowing for cleaner cinematography. With the house being built on a set, the filmmakers had more flexibility with different camera angles, special effects, and both practical and digital effects to create a more polished look. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but in North America, The Grudge has become a cult classic and holds a special place in the horror film industry. Sam Raimi understood that by Americanizing the film, the Western audience would be drawn in, which played a big part in its success and subsequent fame. Ju-on, on the other hand, was already popular when it was released and gained a significant following worldwide. However, it was the American adaptation that really pushed the franchise into the mainstream, bringing many viewers back to Ju-on to explore more of the curse and its lore. To me, both of these films are like sisters. They should be appreciated as their own separate entities, despite their similarities. Watching them this way allows for a more enjoyable experience and helps you avoid constantly comparing one to the other, even though I am doing that in this video. Unfortunately, I've noticed that some people don't enjoy Ju-on as much because they've already seen The Grudge and had certain expectations going in. Instead of fully embracing the story and the slow burn, some viewers were disappointed by the lack of action. It's a shame, really, because Ju-on is such an amazing and incredible film in its own right. Personally, I found Ju-on to be more enjoyable, mainly because it had so much more story and emotion. I really appreciated learning about this type of curse and its origins. The fact that it's deeply rooted in Japanese culture and brought to life in a film is really fascinating. That being said, I'm still very grateful for The Grudge and I thoroughly enjoyed it as well. It introduced me to the franchise and kept me hooked throughout the entire movie. I love the cinematography and effects, making it one of the best films I've ever seen, period. Honestly, I rated both of these films 10 out of 10 because I absolutely love them. Each has its strengths and weaknesses, but they both have a special place in my heart. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you prefer one over the other? Or do you love both equally like I do? Or maybe you didn't even like them at all? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this type of content, please leave a like and subscribe for more horror media content. I will see you all next time, and as per usual, stay spooky. Bye everybody.